All right. Good evening and welcome to Sound Collective tonight for our Collective Connect event series. Thank you all so much for joining us here in person and those of you who are online joining us. We are extremely excited to welcome Support Women DJs here for this event, having a wonderful discussion on navigating a male-dominated industry. We have guest speakers V, Branquino, and Val Fleury, and this event will be moderated by Rach Brosman herself. So I will pass it off so we don't waste any time and get right into it. But thank you all so much for joining, and make some noise for our wonderful panel this evening.
Thank you to the Sound Collective for having us, and happy Women's History Month, first of all. I want to do some introductions first, so you can, if you don't already know about these lovely ladies, that you will know about them today. I'll go ahead and start. So my name is Rach Brosman, and I'm the founder of Support Women DJs. And I actually just started this collective in January of this year. So it is brand new, and I essentially started it because I was going out to raves all the time. I'm a big raver, and I was like, where are the women DJs at? Why am I only seeing maybe one woman on the lineup for the night and very rarely a headliner? So I just wanted to change that because that's what I wanted to see on lineups. And so we had our first event in February and it was amazing. And now we're having pretty much weekly shows and a podcast coming out soon. Yes. So, do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves? V, you want to start?
Hi, everyone. My name is V. I am a techno hard groove DJ based out of New York. I was born in Peru, and I help run OnlyFemmes, a femme-led collective based out of Brooklyn.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shanice. I DJ as my last name, Branquino. I'm a house music DJ. I'm inspired by the Chicago roots of house music, so you'll always see an old school kind of flair to my sets. I have been DJing for about 5 years. I've been circling all of the clubs and in New York, and I feel really grateful for that. I help run the New York events for a collective called Sisters in Sound. So we do women's like educational events, and I also have my own mental health project called You're Important Project. So if you want a sticker, I have stickers. I have little stickers that say You're Important, so come see me after the event.
Hello, everybody. My name is Val Fleury. I'm from Monrovia, Liberia in West Africa. Really small country, but beautiful. You should visit. I am a DJ, producer, and designer. I pretty much fuse techno house with a West African flair. My heritage, being able to have grown up in the US and in West Africa, I think it's really important for me to be able to use my platform to champion minorities, women. Anytime you hear my sets, anytime you hear my mixes online, at least 50% are women or more. The last one was 100%, or BIPOC. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Awesome. So we are going to get into some stories that they have, answer your questions. We are going to do a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions lingering in your mind, please write them down. And my first question for you guys is, how did you start DJing? And you can go into why you started, what kind of equipment you got, and just all of the details of that.
Yeah, so I started DJing when I was about 17, but I generally caught interest when I was 12 years old. And I started off a virtual DJ, as most of us, just recording sets, uploading them on SoundCloud, passing them along to friends. And then I got a Tractor S4 when I started to play more gigs, and I tried to, get a feel of what the equipment was like. And then now I have a XDJ XRX, and it prepares me for the club sets with the CDJs, but a little more affordable. And yeah, I just got into it when I was promoting at Pacha, New York City, and just played gigs. I'm 26 and I'm doing it.
And can you also explain how you learned to DJ?
Oh yeah, so I learned to DJ, with my godfather. My godfather was also a DJ, so he, taught me the concepts of beat matching and just YouTube videos, talking to other friends, and yeah.
So I started DJing in 2019, and I started because I watched a TED Talk and I was like, what would you regret on your deathbed? And I was like, I want to do music. So I had a friend that was a DJ. He lived up the street from me. So I went to his house every week. I learned the basics. And then I bought my own stuff, which was a XDJ RX2. And then now I have an Opus Quad, which is so amazing because I've up-leveled my skills that much that I want to learn practice on 3 and 4 decks. So it's been pretty cool journey. And then my dad was a DJ growing up as well. So I think I had that influence in the back of my head.
So I started DJing in 2012, 2011. I come from a family, zero creative people at all. Like my family are like immigrants and they have blue collar jobs, or they're either in like international politics or professional athletes. Like my brother are professional football players and stuff. And I had to find a way to stand out in a very large, loud Liberian family. And so music was my thing. It took a while for me to get into DJing. I was in bands. I like literally played in post-progressive, post-punk band. Like I've seen every fold of music, so my journey here is like really interesting. And I actually took it seriously though in 2012. And I would go to Guitar Center because I know that they couldn't kick you out. And I didn't have enough money to like pay for the equipment. So shout out to Guitar Center in Hollywood. Every day during my lunch break, I had a 9-to-5 job. And I had 1 hour. It would take me 5 minutes to walk there. I would get Wendy's on the way. I would practice for 40 minutes. And I would walk back to the office every day for 6 months. And then the staff got really sick of me one day and they all pulled their like money together to get me set, like a broken set basically. So I would stop coming in. But it worked and here we are today.
Wow.
They won't kick you out of Guitar Center. Yeah.
My next question, getting into our topic of being in a male-dominated industry, what do women, femmes, and thems need to be aware of when getting into DJing that men don't necessarily need to be aware of?
Yeah, of course. So something that I have paid attention to is basically just being the diversity hire of the lineup. I would say, trying to see if they're, promoting you as the female instead of trying to promote your sets that you played before, or trying to promote the music or your skills, or share one of your sets as well. And just be aware of how they promote you. If they're saying, oh yeah, she's the female DJ, she's a woman, this and that, that means they're really trying to make you the diversity hire of the lineup. That's something I would definitely like look out for if you're a female DJ as well.
Something that I don't think men have to face is that basically like they pay attention to the way that you look a lot. Like it doesn't matter so much what a man looks like. And I don't want to say it's all of it, but definitely women's looks are part of it. And if you look good, they'll be like, well, you got this gig because you're hot. And I'm like, well, I can't possibly be hot and talented. Oh no. But so I think, so your looks is definitely something that people pay attention to. And then you get a lot of, being a woman, you get a lot of comments, not just on your skill level. Again, just because you're a woman and you look good, you can't possibly know how the gear works because I don't understand. So men don't have to face those kinds of things. And yeah, there's so many things. I think, the promoters being creepy. I've had a couple of experiences with that. So it's just being a woman sometimes when you're around men who don't know how to behave themselves is tough, and we have to keep ourselves on guard a little bit more.
Yeah, I would say to that question that what men forget a lot of times is that collaboration and charm or pleasantness will get you so much further than competition and arrogance. So much further.
Okay, so do you guys have any stories where you have experienced misogyny in the scene? It could be while you're, networking with promoters, while you're behind the booth, or even just out on the dance floor.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like you have some.
Oh,
So you
absolutely.
can say multiple, but
Absolutely. This actually happened during the summer. I heard from someone that a promoter was more upset that I brought my significant other instead of bringing other women to the event, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the reason why he was so like was this way towards you was because you brought your significant other and you didn't bring other women to our event," and that's what they thought that I would be, bringing my girlfriends, but said I brought my significant other, which is my biggest supporter, so it that was outside of the event, but it was definitely like related to that as well.
I have so many stories. I'll share one. I played at Musica, and the sound guy before was mansplaining the levels and redlining to me, and I was like, I've never heard of redlining before. Like, um, yeah, so that's one of the many.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys have been saying in regards to just some examples. Very often, you'll get, so whose girlfriend are you? Or whose sister are you? But a lot of times it's the whose girlfriend are you? And I'm like, oh, you see that poster right there? The one like right there, that's me. I'm the DJ. Oh, okay, okay. And then they just think like you're just again like a diversity hire or you really can't play. But 9 times out of 10, the girls can DJ circles around the guys. So then you start to play and they're just like, what man taught you that? Like I've literally had this said to my face many times. Like I played in Mexico, San Juan of Allende, a couple years ago, and the same thing. Like I got to the venue, and he's like, "Who are you? What are you doing back here?" And like was going to call security on me, and I was like, "I'm literally the like top name on this poster right now." So all the time things like that happen.
I'll add too, just from my short time in the scene when talking to promoters and bookers, a lot of them have told me straight up that women play better than men typically. So why are they not hiring more? I don't know, but I've heard that from multiple promoters. My next question is, can you share some of your secrets for networking and promoting yourself to get gigs?
So the way that I usually like pitch myself or network with people is telling them that I run a collective. Because if I throw, say, 6 to 7 hour shows, then that usually leaves the promoter to trust me to just play an hour set and to curate a lineup with just a couple different DJs of the same genre and have the night flow a little better. So I usually just include that I run a collective and it has people trust you. It has people trust you that you'll make it on time because, punctuality is really important within getting to your DJ gigs on time and promotion and really just involving yourself within the event. So yeah, that's what I usually do.
To network and put myself out there. So, one thing I'm a firm believer in is that the work I do is an act of service. So that's why I do Sisters in Sound. So I'm consistently giving back to others, and then just genuinely caring about people. I know it sounds crazy, but I just care about people. When I see them, I try to genuinely connect with them and remember things about them. And I think people just like to be seen and heard and helped. And so that just, karmic has done really well for me.
Agreed. I would say in regards to like networking and getting yourself out there, like show up. One of the things that, the characteristics of women, they say, oh, we're very nurturing, like not to have any expectations, but like really just go out and support people. Show up to someone's gig that you want to know. Like I remember when I first started DJing, before I had the techniques down, I would literally go to bars and I would sit in the back. And then when I got a little bit more comfortable, I would sit in the middle. And then I would sit in the front of like people who I just wanted to get to know at some point. And they see you and they, are thankful and they trust you. And then you can build relationships that way. Like I've seen the most outcome by asking for nothing and just supporting people in the universe or people will bring back to you. So also, I think exponentially getting yourself out there, like record your sets, like whether you're in your bedroom or you have a gig, like record it, get it on the internet. You can make a mix and then send that to people. Be a little bit more organized. Like literally, you could write one paragraph, record your set or a mix, and then send that out. I guarantee you're doing 90% better than what most people do if you just have like a picture, a paragraph about yourself, maybe a video like on your iPhone or record it on your, like anything, and then send that out.
Having a professional one pager goes a long way. And Shanice, I know you have one of these too. Could you talk a little bit about yours as well and your process for creating that document or folder of documents to promote yourself?
Sure. So something I have learned from playing the bigger gigs is I have a press kit. So I actually put it in my signature in my email. So I have a logo that's created and then I have a signature that says press kit. If you click on it, I have a one sheet, I have a website, I have a folder to photos, a folder to videos, and you're able to access everything. When I was first getting started, I definitely agree with the mix. I've gotten bookings based just on my mixes. Someone heard a mix on SoundCloud. So just find something that you really like to do. Like I did a mixtape for my crush. I have 7 volumes now. It's all love songs. I collect love songs. It's so wholesome. And it's so just like start doing like a weekly mix or a themed mix or something like that, something that's important to you, and just keep sharing it. And eventually, like, the stars will align in some way. I promise.
And then I also was wondering just about social media specifically and creating your, personal brand, as everyone says, as a DJ and sharing that out on social media. What are some of your tactics for that?
I would say just what I really do on social media is, stay engaged, really connect with the people that follow you. I just post on the daily, really.
Yeah, I would say V, you do a really good job of very consistent posting. Like your
Thank you.
followers know what event is
Thank you.
going on. So
Yeah, just keep on posting it. Post a link, be as detailed as possible. Stay on theme for sure. If you're promoting a techno show, I would say go for the more grungier look. If you're promoting like a house show, lighten it up a little bit, and then just stay on theme and create like a flow. If you check out the social media page for the collective that I throw, I like to just blend it out real nice and stay consistent on the things we post.
So I talked about DJing at nauseum. So I'm a big Twitter person, and I have a little Twitter personality. And
isn't it X?
Huh? Yeah.
X.
Well, I will never call it X. I will. Yeah. I don't like that Elon took it over because it's horrible. But we won't get into that. But I talked about DJing at nauseum, and I think people just. Oh, they're like, okay, you're a DJ, because that's all I would do. I would share music. I would share my mixes. I would just talk about stupid little DJ things. So I think that's important, like almost like giving yourself an identity, and people like to like connect with the human that you are. So share what's going on. So You Are Important project, is my mental health platform. So I mix that in as well. So I have a little bit of vulnerability mixed into my social media, and I think that works well for me.
In regards to social media, Lord, it is a bane of my existence. Yet I think a lot of times when people see my Instagram or like social media, they're like, oh my God. Let me tell you, it's a chore, it's a pain. And I personally have to stay organized in order to do it. So as V was sharing, like having a calendar really helps. Like I'm a post maybe 3 times a week. And I know like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, find your own cadence, and having like 3 topics that you're interested in, whether that's like my name is Val Fleury, which means Flower Valley. Oh, yeah, Flower Valley in Old French. So it's like flowers, music, tips, maybe style and design, because I'm also a designer. Like finding 3 or 4 categories, maybe 3, 4 times a week, and having like a humanistic tone, and not always just like show, come, bye. Like show your personality and make it like engaging and know who you're speaking to. Like, who are the people you want to be following you? Who are the people who are actually following you? That's the communication style you want to have. But like, really, I am a product designer as much as I am a DJ producer, and I like organization and logistics. Calendar 3 times, 3 categories, speak like a human, don't always sell, and you should be fine. Oh, and make it cohesive visually.
So at Support Women DJs, we believe that more diversity on stage equals more fun on the dance floor. So my question for you guys is, what can promoters and bookers do to make sure that they are curating diverse lineups?
So this is something that I assist my partner when we throw our shows, actually, and something that we're trying to do is really bring the spotlight to minorities and everything. So my biggest tip, if you're really trying to display diversity and just all are welcomed type of energy, um, I would say just like throw shows that highlight, different ethnic holidays and really book DJs within that ethnicity for that show and try to do it for almost every holiday that comes along. I feel like it not only brings awareness, but it also showcases talent that we have never seen before, just because the minority uh, group is um, so unknown.
I would say do your research. Like the history of a lot of music is within, minority culture. So if you are booking house music shows, like house music came from like the queer black scene in Chicago. If you're not booking artists that represent that, then you're not really doing your research and representing the music.
1000% what you guys said. I mean, I think for me, one of the things that I know that I can do is like control my sets and control like what my output is. And so that's why I make humongous efforts to like make sure that I'm injecting queer, make sure I'm injecting people of color, like marginalized groups in all of my sets, in all of the song selections, when I'm having interviews, etc. Like sometimes people get overwhelmed of being able to like not control the outside, but sometimes it might be interesting or easier for you to be like, what can I control? So I remember when I first started DJing in LA, there were barely any women and definitely no black women. But again, going back to the collaboration over competition thing, a lot of the girls got together and we were like, look, there's only so many of us out here. And if we want to survive and see more, what can we do different than what the boys are doing? And so we were like, okay, cool. If you get a gig, can you just happen to mention like V or Benquino? Just like, hey, by the way, if you're ever booking more people, I know 2 other girls who are fantastic, or like that's what we started doing. And like there was more and more people were complaining like, the girls are not that good. Well, you're not asking how can the girls be better, so then we started like mentoring each other or sharing music or talking about like what people are getting paid or what to look out for and things like that. So sometimes you can focus on what you can control or like what the person next to you can control and not the outside. But going back to your question, externally, there are people like, Aluna and Jaguar who are asking on their riders, inclusion provisions, like some of these bigger DJs who have the platforms. Like sometimes it's like awkward for me to like be like, hey, by the way, can you add this to your rider? I will, but I'm expecting them to be like, maybe yes, maybe no. But things are like the inclusion riders, etc. And then seeing what you can do and the person next to you might be helpful.
Can you explain a little bit more about the rider, the inclusion rider that Jaguar made? I've seen it and I think it's amazing, but not everyone probably knows about it.
Yeah, so Jaguar and a lot of other women and non-women DJs who are asking for inclusion in their riders. So you might ask for like a tech writer or like hospitality. I want this and that, like this soda or this champagne, or I want this equipment set up on stage. But they're also now asking like, hey, if I am playing this lineup, I would like to see somebody from the queer community also as an opener. I would like to see someone of color on this lineup, or just from another marginalized group to be also included in these writers, and in kind of holding these promoters and bookers responsible or accountable for this. And if your excuse is, I don't know how to, or I don't know where to get these people, a lot of times the artists themselves or the agencies are going the extra miles to be like, here's a list of people. You have no excuse.
Facts. And I will also say that promoters and bookers should come to collectives that specialize in minority groups, such as us and other groups that, specify in queer DJs, etc. Like I had a collective based in Astoria that was putting on a show, and they just DM'd me on Instagram and said, "Do you have any women DJ recommendations for this show coming up?" And I just put up a little story on our Instagram saying this collective is looking for a DJ for an upcoming show, and they thanked me so much and said they got a ton of messages from women DJs. So I would encourage everyone out there to just be reaching out to collectives that specialize in that. The next topic I have is about equal pay, and that's always a hot topic. So, can you give some advice on how to communicate your worth and set your rate and negotiate?
Yeah, of course. So the way that I usually set pay up or compensation for a set or anything in that regard is I one look at my Venmo transactions from other promoters, look at my Zelle, look at my Cash Apps, and then just try to find the average number for that, and then just have it in the back of my head, and then I like reaching out to the promoter and just tell them like, hey, what could you afford? And if they're a smaller collective, I'll start them at a smaller number, and then if they're a little larger and I see that, they could really afford it, then I'll give them the number that I usually have in mind. And yeah, we just find a happy medium in that.
So this is a great question. I think it's a tough question. It's something that I still struggle with myself, but I speak with my colleagues and I get an average, and then I do the same thing. If it's a smaller promoter, I understand that throwing parties is a lot, especially for smaller collectives. But if it's a bigger club and a bigger promoter, like I play for some bigger promoters in New York, and I know that they can afford to pay me. So I will, like the show I'm playing tonight, I negotiated for $50 more just because I felt like they could do that. And I think, yeah, it's tough. Talk to the other people in your scene, what the openers are getting paid, because some clubs don't pay very well. I've had like there's some clubs that play really, really well in New York, and there's some that don't. So kind of see the type of relationship that you have. You want to be confident about it, but you say, I know that I got paid this amount here. Is there any way that you could have a budget for this much more? I promise that you work really hard for your sets. Like I prep for hours before my sets. I buy music for my sets. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your time spent on the music and prepping is worth you going to the gig.
Absolutely. It's something that I still struggle with too in regards to payment. I think you're absolutely right. I remember when I first started, sometimes I would just reach out to a lot of other girls because I knew more or less like they would be a little bit more supportive. And instead of giving like a hard number, sometimes people are more comfortable with a range. We're like, hey, I would love to hear your experience. I saw that you played at this place last month. They're considering booking me, and the guy, or I wouldn't say exactly a specific person, but like, the offer is coming in between this range and this range. Does that make sense? Do you think I should push more? Do you think I should like step down, and let me know what you think? So that's been quite helpful. um, I'm starting to laugh too because I was thinking back, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. Anna Luno, she's an Australian DJ. She had posted on social media. She was like, shout out to anybody who ever responded to, I don't know, it was like some dude name. It was like chad@annaluno.com or something like that. Because a lot of times it's like really hard as a woman to be like the talent and the business. So you kind of have to like make up this like persona as like a white dude to like like be tough. So like when she said that, I like started doing that, and I will tell you, like exponentially, like the money started getting more, and I started getting like more bells and whistles and everything. So sometimes you might have to go that route to just kind of like negotiate or like champion yourself. So just want to give you a little bit of that tea.
I love that. You said channeling your inner Chad. Is that okay?
More deep, please.
You got to let the finance bro out.
How can women DJs and producers support one another?
Just showing up to their sets. Really, that's the biggest thing. Show up to their sets, repost the flyer. That's like the smallest thing you could do. Just repost the flyer. Show up and stay. Come early, stay late as well. We know sometimes the opener is not the one that you're really paying to see, but I promise you they really appreciate it. And it just show up for the scene, like those SoundCloud mixes, and repost those SoundCloud mixes because it goes a long way. You never know who's on the other end, scrolling and taking a look, and yeah, and then also just like book one another if you can't make it to a set. Definitely recommend the other DJ that you saw that's been trying to get gigs, and the one that you think deserves it. Give them their Instagram, and really vouch for them. I think that's so important.
There's so many ways. I have genuinely, I all of my friends are DJs now, and particularly I focus on women. But you can comment on every single DJ friend of mine. I comment something on every single post that they have. I share their posts. I listen to their music. I share their music. I genuinely am so excited for them, and it just comes out in that way. Recommending them, and putting them on. Yeah, sharing the mixes is a good thing. Sharing the music if they just put out a track, it's and putting them in your mixes, playing them at your shows, is really important.
I absolutely agree. I think that supporting other women is so important. That can manifest in so many different ways. But again, yeah, having like just 5 people, let's even say 3 names that you can always just say whenever you're in spaces of access and privilege, like, always being able to like name 3 to 5 other female DJs that you can recommend their music. Like some people's music I don't even like, but that doesn't mean like other people aren't going to like the music, and just being able to give that opportunity for someone else is like so, so, so important. So yeah.
And on a related note, how can DJs getting into the scene build community with other people in the music industry, whether that's women or just anyone to build community with?
Yeah, for sure. So that actually, I can relate to that. Actually, just starting your own collective. Throw a couple parties. Bring a community together by bringing the DJs that you always wanted to see, the local DJs. Put them on one. Their friends. Book that one DJ of the friend group that you've always wanted to hang out with, and yeah, just build a collective. I think that's one of the biggest keys to bringing people together.
I would say on that, go to these small collectives parties. Go to the local venues, right? Like in New York, go to TBA. There's always a local. I love playing at TBA. It's one of my favorite spots because it's such a local spot, and the music is always popping. So just find these smaller collectives, start going to the local venues and seeing who's playing. Go up to the DJs. If you're looking at the bigger clubs like in New York, like Elsewhere or Superior Ingredients, like get there early. Sometimes DM the opener. If you DM me and say, hey, do you have any spots on your guest list? I bet you I do, and I bet you they do. And just go there early and meet them and say, hey, I really like, I started DJing, I want to start getting into it. And then I like it, like they will introduce you to their friends, to the people around them. So those are some ways you can start to build more of a DJ based community.
In regards to growing the community, I would say um, sometimes it's not going to come to you. You have to build it, right? So that could look like putting on your own night. When I first started DJing in LA, like no one, it was such a boys club, like no one, they're like, oh, what crew, what collective are you with? I'm like, I I'm agnostic, like I have none. I literally have none. I'm just here. I would like to play, or like I would love to be a part of this. And they're just like, no, 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 you have to like sell your soul. And I just wouldn't. So I just went to a local bar and I was like, I will play for drinks. And then I started booking people that I wanted to be associated with to play. And like I was like, I can't pay you, but you can get as many drinks as you want. And they started bringing friends, and like people love that opportunity. So just start with where you can, or even like shouting people out. Like you'll see a lot of times on my Instagram or other people's, like, here's 5 women that you should know in the scene who are booking, who are DJing, whatever. That costs you nothing. And it's just like showing that you're interested, that you're engaged, and like you're just giving other people opportunity. Like I just want to shout out like Aki. Like she literally put me on a playlist just this week, and we're getting to meet each other right now. Like I would not have known her unless she reached out to me on
She's the best.
Instagram, or like, also shouting out like Solar Sounds in Philadelphia. When I first moved there, they literally DM'd me and they're like, hey, you're Val Fleury. We heard you're in town. Like, let's get a coffee. I don't know like any dudes who would do that. It's always the girls. So let's keep stuff like that going.
Love that. So, what has been the biggest challenge so far in your DJ career?
So my biggest challenge is balancing my everyday life and DJing, balancing work, DJing, family, relationships, and everything. There's like days where I had to decline like a really big gig, or a gig that I have always wanted to play because of work, and just everyday life. Especially if DJing isn't your like main source of income, and you have like a day job, or if you work like night shifts, like just like balancing life and DJing. Really, I think that's the biggest one.
And how did you learn to try to overcome that over the years?
I think just like, being more realistic, and, setting those days where like, all right, so if I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not going to take gigs for that, but I'm going to try to push for those like weekday gigs, which I think people should also come to, because those are where, the actual music heads are at. And yeah, I just was more like realistic with myself, and set like specific days that I can, or if I would have to miss out on work one day, I would make sure like I keep the money tight and keep the money saved up so I could afford, going out that one night and to DJ.
Yeah, I have to mirror that, managing light work-life balance. I have a full-time job. I'm a nurse educator by day, and I get up at 5 a.m. And some weekends I am out until 5 a.m. Many weekends I'm out until 5 a.m. So the schedule has been hard. Something that's been helpful is I've been really sober curious. So I've been playing around with sobriety, because I felt like when I was drinking too much, I would have like mental fog. And even if I wasn't drinking a lot, I would be gigging Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I would not be able to recover and be in my role as a nurse educator. I have to be on. And then now I say no a lot more too. So when we were talking about payment before, so now I've been saying no to the things that don't pay me a whole lot. And respectfully, I want to stay more focused on the gigs that are, pushing me forward or align with my values more.
That means you're in a good place that you can say no.
For me, some of the challenging things has evolved over time. Like I think where I am right now, believe it or not, it's like I still struggle with imposter syndrome sometimes when I'm in the room with people that I admire, or a lot of times I'm like, damn, am I like as good, or can I do this, or can I do this? And it's all in my mind actually, and just trying to remember that like I worked my butt off to be here. I deserve to be here. I'm just as good or even better than people who are in this room right now, and understanding that even just my presence means a lot to other people who look up to me or who look like me. So having that confidence and competence, like a lot of times people don't know, like I'll go in the bathroom before gigs and I do like the Superwoman for like 30 seconds to like 2 minutes and just pep talk myself. And then we go out and then we slay. But a lot of times, like I still have to be like, Val, you're good, you're great. And in fact, and I have to like believe it that way. Also, there's a big financial constraint to what we do, like even starting buying the equipment. People don't realize like paying for glam, even like outside of the equipment or your time or transportation to get there. It takes a lot to upkeep, and people have that expectation for women, no matter what your style or whatever is. It just costs a lot. It costs a lot, and you have to like sacrifice. Like, do I want to do this or not do this? When you look at other people and they're enjoying lives in a different way. And then lastly, I would say, like, what does family life look like as a woman and being a DJ? Like, people are like, oh my God, you're outside in the streets, or like, what does this mean for like relationships, or like, can you be a mom and DJ? But it's been really awesome seeing women in the last 5 to 7 years, like, Anna Luno has like 2 kids and she's a family, or like Aluna George is a mom, and just so many, many more. Smiles Davis, you name it. Like a lot of them have families and are continuing with their careers. So it's quite encouraging to see like that can look very many ways, however you want it to look.
And what has been the best moment in your DJ career so far?
It's funny because today is the best moment. Yeah, no, I mean, being considered to do things outside of the decks, I think, is one of the most like humbling and the best feelings ever. And being trusted for this platform, it's like the best moment, I could say. Um, Definitely like spinning TBA and playing like a certain song and having everyone go a little crazy, or the Sultan Room, which I DJ'd at recently. But definitely today, I'm just getting to really speak instead of speak with the music. I think that also goes a long way. And thank you so much.
The best moment, I think I have a lot of best moments. I think overall, the fact that I've had a consistent platform and seen consistent growth since I started, the fact that I get to play all of the clubs that I used to go to when I was, raving, like, back in 2015 is amazing. But I think it's just the best thing ever when I'm playing a good set and I'm like in flow with people and I'm screaming and they're screaming and I'm like, ah. So that's like I have a lot of those good moments and I have a lot of those nights lately, and I am super grateful for all of that.
I would like to mirror what you guys said. I think this year so far has been the best moment for me. Just being able to lean into like just myself fully as like a person and as an artist. I have 5 releases set for this year, and just being able to just commit fully to that. Being able to play Coachella next month, and knowing like I'm literally like one of the only West Africans, definitely the only Liberian, and just knowing like what I'm doing means so much for like out for myself personally, but for where I come from and the people who look like me.
Trailblazer alert.
Thank you. And like, yeah, I'm just so grateful and thankful, and I just, yeah, this year I hope it continues.
I want to ask a question about music production, which I know you guys are on varying levels of music production. Do you think that it's necessary for DJs to produce music to further their career?
So I like to visit this topic with myself actually a lot. And I feel like it's, where are you trying to be? Are you trying to headline? I feel like if you're getting the headlining gigs, you're really speaking from your albums and your releases. Um, but if you're okay, playing the club sets and the opening sets, support sets, then it could be very, very useful and fun as well. But it's just very where you're trying to be, where you're trying to play, what audiences are you trying to play for. Yeah, and I'm also looking at producing soon as well, because I definitely want to start playing a lot of bigger gigs, and I realize that producing is a big key to that sometimes.
Yes, I agree. It depends on where you want. There are DJs that really make themselves out to be DJs, but it's really hard to do that. and DJing all the time is exhausting. So when you produce, you get to be more selective. People know you for your releases. You are more curated, and you can have higher fees, you can be higher on lineups, you can be on festivals. So in my eyes, I think producing is necessary if you want to take it to the next level. I'm currently working on that. And I do think since I started producing, I listen to the music a lot differently. I mix better. I think it has deepened my love and appreciation for music as well.
I think that there's a large range of DJing, right? Like, do you want to be a mobile DJ? You're doing bar mitzvahs and weddings. That's absolutely fine. Do you want to be a bedroom DJ? That's absolutely fine. Do you want to be a radio DJ? Do you want to be a festival club DJ? All of this is DJing. And it may or may not necessarily come with music production. So it's just really depending on, like you guys said, like what kind of DJ do you want to be? And you can be several types of DJs. But I will say that in my experience, and I've been again DJing since 2011, the people who have put out music have exponentially grown their opportunities, their income, and yeah, just the quality of opportunities that come to them. And then also with the music production, like when I started out not many, but maybe about 5 years ago, I thought I had to be everything for like I had to be the like songwriter and the vocalist and producing and engineer and mix mastering and all that stuff. You will burn yourself out. More than half of these dudes out here who are producers, they got ghostwriters, they have help, they have teams, or they'll, finish the track up to like 60, 70% and they hand it off to somebody else and then come back and give their green light. That's absolutely fine. However you want to get the music out there, do not limit yourself. Just get it out there if that's what you want. Or just DJ if that's what you want to.
How did you get your very first DJ gig?
I just started promoting, actually. I got my first DJ gig just selling tickets, basically. And that is something that a bunch of DJs are going to be met with when they first start DJing. How many tickets can you sell? The pay to play, which is, not the best way to get in. But just promoting, joining like a group, and eventually, the DJ or the promoter was just like, yeah, like I see that you post some mixes out on SoundCloud and they're really good. And we would like to give you this opportunity because not only have you helped us get people in, but we see that you definitely deserve it. And it was funny because my first DJ gig was for like a teen night with Little Terrio. I don't know if you guys remember him. It was just like really funny, and it was like a teen club. Like I was like playing like Chami and a bunch of like night bass stuff, and it was like 16, 17, and yeah, and that was like the start of all this.
And can you explain pay to play? What do you mean by that? Can you let everyone know?
Yeah, so currently, and I mean this is also like a term from ages ago, but a lot of promoters will tell DJs like, "Hey, if you pay us, like, we'll let you DJ," basically. So you're not getting a fee; you're just getting the exposure, and you're basically paying for the amount of tickets that you could sell. Sometimes they're like, "Yeah, like, um, just sell an X amount of tickets and you'll pay and you'll play." You're basically like paying to play.
Does that still happen today a lot?
Oh yeah, it definitely happens a lot. It happens a lot in those like Manhattan bottle service clubs. So if you're looking at like Lavo or Marquee, if you're looking at Nebula, it happens a lot in those. Because sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, I've never heard of this DJ," but like he's like headlining Marquee, or he's like opening up for like Martin Garrix at like Marquee, and then you start to hear, oh yeah, they come for money, and they paid a good fee to get in there. Happens a lot, especially in Manhattan.
I have never done that, just so. But sorry, can you ask the question again?
How did you get your first gig?
Oh, my first gig. It was through You Are Important Project. So I have this brand, the mental health brand I mentioned, and I used to go to events and bring the band. I have a banner. Actually, have it with me now because I'm putting it at the event I am playing after. And I have this banner where it's like a kind message can change someone's day, and I give stickers. And so someone wanted me to. It was a friend of mine. They wanted me to bring a banner and DJ, and that's how I got my first gig. Yeah.
I got my first DJ gig by literally walking into my friend's neighborhood dive bar in Koreatown in LA. And it's one of those bars where like the same dudes have been going to for 40 years and they all know each other. They literally don't care what's playing. They just want to like talk and drink beers. And I think the guy was just so excited to see like someone under the age of 55 in the bar. And he didn't want he didn't want me to pay, excuse me, I didn't want money from him. So he was like, "Oh, okay, if like people other than the 12 of us who've been coming here for 50 years will come in the bar, then sure." And yeah, we did that for maybe 4 months, me and my friend, and then we started inviting other friends in. And then he told his other bar friend that these girls were coming in and playing really well, and it just spread that way. But yeah.
My last question before we open it up for Q&A is, what are the ingredients needed to have a great set?
Love, passion. Like passion and love is like the biggest thing. You know, if you're coming into a gig and you're not really loving the music, like how can you connect with the crowd that also loves the music? Um, I, I can't emphasize this enough. Like if you're doing this for like the wrong reasons, like it will just show, and you will hear it by your track selection as well. A lot of yeah, because a lot of the times they're like, oh yeah, like you're playing a techno show, and then you're playing some Fisher, and then you're like, oh, like, do you really love this if you don't know like the room or the crowd or like what the night entails. But yeah, passion, love, and yeah, just a lot of experience as well, like going out, going to see what other DJ sets are like. I think it's the amount of hours you put in as well.
Yeah. So on a general level, I think selection for sure is something that makes a great DJ set. I think I would rather listen to someone who wasn't technically great, but they had really good selection. So I think that that's number one. But making sure that you complement the time that you're playing. I know there's a lot of Twitter discourse on this, but I really do think that you should know who you're supporting, who you're on a lineup with, what the night is, what is the time of day you're playing, and then you have to add your own flair, right? I don't want to just hear like what you think I want to hear. I want what you think we want to hear. So putting yourself into it, and I want to hear tracks that I don't want to know that I want to hear. So I don't want to hear what's on the Beatport Top 100. I want to hear what you really like and what really makes you move, that also kind of builds up the night or supports the time of the event that you're playing.
I think to your question of like what makes a good DJ set, for the most part, like just going back to the fundamentals, right? Like there are people who are listening to this who literally just started DJing yesterday or today. And you just need to be able to mix, please, Lord, be able to mix one track into the other track. It's called beat matching. You can definitely, get this down with practice. It's like learning this higher shoot. You can do that one track into the other. Song selection, a little bit more intermediate, but that's the second thing you should probably learn how to do. Like read the room, like what songs you need to play based on who you're opening for, the capacity. Is it a holiday? Like all kinds of things. Like you need to do your homework and practice. Like no one shows up and says, I want to be a doctor. And then tomorrow you have your, certification, to be a doctor or a baseball player. You have to practice and prepare. Like we were talking about this in the green room, like most of the women that we know, like spend so much time preparing because we know we have to be 3 times as good. Whereas like I know so many dudes who just go and wing it, and sometimes it's great. A lot of times it's not, and they don't even care. But like practicing that, and yeah, those would be my tips for good DJ set.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Now it's time for some Q&A. Who wants to go first? You want to come up? Can you come up and ask your question? Yeah.
So for those of you that also produce shows or events, how did you get into booking, into that sort of thing?
Yeah, so just wanting to build a community and wanting to make a show that I've always wanted to see, basically, and build lineups that I've always wanted to build, book the DJs that I've always wanted to book, basically, and just like build a community. So a lot of the times there's like very gatekeepy type of collectives or just platforms, and just wanting to welcome all, basically.
Yeah, I would say there's 3 main parts. There's getting your venue and your DJs and promoting it. So, venues, honestly, if you go to websites of venues that you like, and if you reach out to enough, at least one person will answer you. If they're a smaller place. You can also a lot of people start out DJ gigs or hosting parties at their own apartments or like rooftops. So, you can ask around to your friends and see if anyone would be down to host. And then DJs, I started finding women DJs here in New York City literally just by starting sending one Instagram message to a woman DJ that I knew, and she referred me to 5 more, and that person referred me to 5 more. And like, I feel like especially women in this community are so supportive, so they're going to refer you. And DJs want gigs, so they will respond to you and want to play. And then promotion is another big part of it, of course. Like, I think for your first event, a big part of it is your own community and the community of the talent that is playing. Like, just making sure, like, usually especially if it's a first party, like, people are going to show up for you and your extended friends of friends. And then, yeah, just think about all the different posters and Instagram ads. There's so many different forms of advertising that you can do. So kind of just hitting all of them and seeing what works best.
Just piggybacking on finding DJs as well. So what we did was we made an Instagram post with a little graphic saying, email us at blah, 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 blah. If you're interested in DJing, and send a mix, a short paragraph introducing yourself. And if you have an EPK, definitely send that as well. So using your platforms such as like Instagram or like X, Twitter, I would I don't even know what to call it. Twitter, Elon Musk bird. Yeah, so I would definitely just make a post, create a little Canva. It's really easy. And just also have like an email that people can also email you the submissions, and definitely have like submission in the subject, so it's like easy to look for, and you'll have a whole catalog. Like Rach said, every DJ wants to play, and if they could reach out to you, then it's a lot easier than having to you scout them yourself.
I'll just add 3 quick things onto that. I think it's really important for you to have some sort of mission or vision, whether it's like, we're doing a St. Patrick's Day party, like, what is your event or what is the community you're trying to build? Then therefore people can identify and want to support it. We're having an organization that support women DJs. Okay, I'm down with that. So have a mission or like a statement that people can buy into, whether it's them wanting to play, them wanting to help you organize and or give you money. It always helps. You want to be as organized as possible, having the website, having the Instagram, everything being consistent. And I would say also starting small. Like, a lot of times, but we're going to have 1,000 people show up to this. Like, it's better to have that story where it's like, okay, we did this thing, 30 people showed up. And then the next time 31 people showed up. And the next time 40 people showed up. And the next time 45 people showed up. And you have a story and scale. And that is how you build community.
You got a question?
Hey y'all, thanks for coming and sharing your knowledge. My question is, I know that you 3 seem to have like narrowed down your style a lot, but I'm really into open format, and I'm wondering if you have any tips on how to position myself like that, because I feel like sometimes it can be kind of confusing when you try to explain people that you enjoy different genres. Maybe you have a friend that is an open format DJ successfully, and how do they got there? Thank you.
Yeah, I have. So I know open format DJs. There's absolutely open format gigs. So you just have to go to the spaces and the venues that allow for it. So I don't have a whole lot of advice on how to put yourself out there, but I know that I follow so many DJs and I know that I know a few of them. And so a lot of places like here in Manhattan, there's a lot of places that ask for open format. So looking maybe at restaurants or Manhattan venues, and maybe even reaching out to a open format DJ. I can connect you with one if you want to talk with him if you want.
Any other questions? Sorry.
I was this open format DJ for about 7 years, and I think the mixes really help. Also, as she said, like going out to the places that you know, the like supper clubs, the restaurants, etc. But those mixes will really, really help you.
First of all, thanks for the shout out, Val. I really appreciate it. So there was a great post that a female DJ put out kind of recently. I think it was Bianca Oblivion, who said, we all go through cycles, right? Like there's busy cycles, there's low cycles, there's high cycles. Sometimes you're feeling really creative, sometimes you're not. What is your advice for going through lower points or going through the lower cycles? Because it's not always up, right? It's a turbulent journey. There's ups and downs, there's peaks and valleys. What are some examples of moments like that you feel comfortable sharing, and how did you get through?
So definitely take that moment that you're going through a lower cycle to revisit what you want to be better at when you're at your high cycles. That's for sure. Is just work on that craft, try to improve that. Do the things that you've been wanting to do when you were busy. I know therapy is a big thing. Mental health is one of the biggest things that I could vouch for, and just self-care as well. Self-care. If you're used to going out until like 5 a.m., maybe catch up on sleep. It really is just like going your day to day. Go to the spa. Do the cute little things that you usually do that you can't do when you're going through your like high cycles and when you're going through those busy moments. I would definitely vouch for just self-care and mental health for sure.
This is a great question, and it's something that I struggle with a lot myself. But I think what I have learned is that when I'm off. I make sure that I prioritize resting when I am not busy with things. And when I am really busy, I am making sure that I am sleeping, I'm eating, I'm staying mostly sober. Like I have a bunch of gigs and I'm going to be staying sober for this weekend, because if I don't, I will be really low next week. So making sure that I check in with myself about what I know I need to make myself feel right, and making sure that I stick to that is really important. And sleeping always, like sleeping, I have to sleep. And if you don't sleep, figuring out where you can sneak those things in.
I would say for, when you're having a time that feels like a lull, giving yourself grace. You definitely don't need to be everything in it for everyone all of the time. For me, there was a period where I just literally bowed out. Like I broke down, and I literally could not do music for a year and a half. I was burnt out. And I actually used this time to like reflect. Actually, that's when I was doing open format, literally trying to do everything for everyone. And I was like, this isn't me. I just need to stop. And I need to slow down. I need to reflect. I need to sleep. I need some snacks. And just really like reflected on what makes me happy. Like, who am I? What do I want to be? And that's when I kind of like came back with like full force. I think having an like accountability partner would be quite helpful. Like somebody who can help you stay on track. Like, okay, I wanted to do 29,000 things, but like, what's the 2 things I can do in the next 10 days? Like I always try to do like, okay, 5 days, like the 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months. Like I try to look at it that way and just break things down. Like, okay, if I can do 2 things in the next 5 days, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, like that's on my list, like I'll be happy. And then you'll be surprised like how that can like snowball into like bigger things. So just making a list for yourself, giving yourself some grace, finding an accountability partner, and know that if you need to like stop, that's absolutely fine.
I love it. Thank you.
I have one more thing on the list. I have this list that I tap into if I'm feeling really sad. And it's just like things that make me happy for no apparent reason. One of them is playing with my cat. So just having this list, write it in your phone of like all of these things that make you happy. And when you're feeling really overwhelmed, just go and do those things. And I've used it so many times. So I like that method.
I have one of those lists too. It's good. Anyone else?
I actually have two questions. The first question is for all three of you. You guys talked a little bit about like the first set you ever had. I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about the transition, like you had your first sets, but then things started really taking off. Like, can you tell me a little bit about maybe like a story or two from that time?
Yeah, of course. So, my second gig after playing that teen event was still with a teen event, but it was at Pasha, New York City. R.I.P. I miss Pasha so much. But it was at Pasha, New York City, and I went from, playing like the small like side lounge at this like club on Staten Island to playing the main room, opening up for Dada Life. Like it happened so fast. And yeah, it's just the transition was really crazy, and I just started seeking out the bigger clubs, leaving Staten Island, which is usually a more mundane area, and going out to Manhattan, really sacrificing the time and making the effort to go out to Manhattan to network. And I was really young. I was like 17. So I was like an ant with like humans. So it was just like, yeah, it was just, sacrificing the time and going out to things that I thought were a little bigger. And yeah.
So I feel like I'm currently going through this, but I think when I started getting bigger gigs, you have to take things that you're not totally ready for sometimes. And you have, like you mentioned this before, like a lot of imposter syndrome. You just got to do it. Like fake it till you make it sometimes, like yes, practice, yes, prep. But once you start getting the bigger things, it just starts to compound, I have found. So I listened to some of my sets when I play at Superior Ingredients a lot, and my first set there compared to how I'm playing now, like I'm so much better now. And I still did the damn thing. So even if you don't feel ready for something and you get the opportunity, like don't beat yourself up about it. You got it because if you're spiritual, the universe gave that to you. So take that opportunity and do it.
So after my first gig at the Koreatown bar, I'd mentioned that we started inviting other people to play because, as everyone said here, everybody wants to play. And if you kind of have that story about what you're doing, people will oftentimes even play for free. Do they just want to like support or be a part of this thing that you have going just to like see the community thrive or see you thrive? And so the more and more that I started to give other people opportunities and expecting nothing, like one day somebody just came back to me and was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Would you like to play? And they were just like a much bigger DJ, but they knew like we had this party called Beta Bay, and it was literally like all these girls who would play and like friends who would support us. And after booking this person for like 3-4 times, they were just like, oh, this slot opened up. Would you want to play? And it was just like in front of a crowd that was 4 or 5 times what we were doing in this like bar of 12 people, So, but I was ready. Like she said, like I was ready for when that opportunity came, and was so nervous. Didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but it turned out a lot better than I thought. So. That was your first question. Can you remind me what the second one was?
I didn't ask it yet. Beta Bay is a great name, by the way. My second question was, you had mentioned you have a full-time job and you also DJ, and I know you're a designer, and like I'm not quite sure if you have a full-time job as well, but I'm curious about that because I do have a 9 to 5. So I'm curious about like balancing that and like how you do balance that.
It is the struggle of my life. It is the absolute struggle of my life. Luckily, I really started DJing when I got into a leadership salary position. So I have to work tomorrow, but they're letting me flex my shift, so I'm going in late. So I think keeping and I won't move up into like they keep asking me to be a director, and I'm like, hell no, because I want to keep doing music. So I think if you have a job where you can be flexible, but if you're working like 12-hour days, it's that I don't even know. I don't even know how I do it sometimes, but I do think the self-care part and being really strict in my routines and sleeping, nutrition, like it's crazy how good you feel when you sleep, eat well, and meditate. Like, wow, who would have figured? And so I think I keep that because every so often I do fall off. I mean, I fall off a lot. You know, it has been the struggle of my life. And Aki was saying before, like I have been in a little bit of a low period, but having a lot of gigs. So I'm trying to like get myself in the moments like outside of work to make sure that I'm really taking care of myself.
Yeah, so I actually work at Avant Gardner, Brooklyn Mirage, and I work there, like I said, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now that Mirage season's coming, it's like that I do the Thursday, the Wednesdays, and it's just like taking advantage of the time that you have outside of work as well. Luckily, my job is a little more on the flexible side. Like I'm not working. Sometimes I don't work the Friday shift. Sometimes I don't work the Saturday shift. So I try to after getting rest and after doing the things that you have to do for yourself, I try to see if like I could play a DJ gig on the Saturday, or they try to play a DJ gig on the Friday. So it's just about taking advantage as well, but also just knowing what your limits are outside of work and when you're trying to really balance that.
I totally agree with you guys. I'm a product designer as well. And initially, I worked at a management consultancy company, like Deloitte, KPMG, etc. And very often we'd have to fly out, like they'd fly you to San Francisco Monday, you come back home, wherever home is in the world, on Thursday, and then you fly back to wherever the client is on Monday or Sunday night, and you come back home on Thursday. And so for the longest time, I didn't tell them I was a DJ because you're in this financial services world and you don't want them to like, know. And also imposter syndrome in your work life. And you're like, oh, they don't take you serious because you're in music. But I made some really good coworkers who would cover for me sometimes. Shout out David Vu, Abbas Mosavi, who just knew and they loved it. And then actually when people started to find out, like everyone loved it at the company. So I would also book gigs around where they would fly me out to. You schedule in advance and like, okay, I'm going to be in San Francisco for the month of April. Let me book some gigs in San Francisco, kind of thing. Or wherever it was, I would try to make it fit that way. And then I transitioned out of financial services and started working for a music technology company. So I was at like SoundCloud, and then like, most recently I was at Venice Music. And I was like, how can I mix product design with like the tech and like music all together? Like I had to find a place where they would appreciate my skill set and I can still like make a living. And for the most part, it's been remote. So like my boss would be like, Val, where we at? He'd be like, all right, Basel, you going? And I was like, can we fly there? Like, is this a company thing? So just finding a place where I could be like authentically myself at a certain point. I know like it's been a privilege to get here and I had to find a way to make it work in the beginning. But yeah, just as long as you can balance out your mental, physical stuff is quite important too. So definitely remember that.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's do that. We'll get back to you.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, okay. So I don't want to mispronounce the name. Looks like Brigitte. First question, how do you balance your personal social media presence and your music social media presence when people either recognize you by your sound or appearance on set?
So I think the question is balancing like my personal self and my music self and when people meet me, or with social media.
I think like, how do you like balance your social media so it's not all just, check out my music. It's also like personal stuff.
Oh yeah. So I like, at first I'm a person, right? I'm just a person doing this thing. So I try to add some vulnerability to everything. So there's going to be Like I played a really great set on Sunday and I was so emotional after, and I just wrote this like corny emotional post, and it was like this crappy video that someone took of me, but I really love the song. So I think I kind of adding some vulnerability really helps. And then sometimes people just want to see a picture of your cat. I want to see a picture of my cat.
Yeah, a lot of the times, like I'll share family members on social media, and I'll just interact with the people on social media, and I try not to just make music the main conversation. Like if they are on Instagram and they swipe up to a story that's related on music, I first talk to them about like, hey, like how's your day? How was work? How was your life? Because they're not just like this music person to you, but they're also a human. You have to treat people like humans. I think that's so important. And yeah, just talk to them about their days, so people know that like, yeah, like she's not just here to get a ticket purchase from me, or she's not just here to get a stream from me, but she's also trying to get to know me, and that just shows on your social media as well if you're more genuine to the people that reach out to you.
For me, I have a Finsta. Fake Instagram. Well, that's really me. So there's the Val Fleury one, and then there's like the other one that will remain nameless right now. So I can just like, post design stuff or like travel stuff or like family stuff on that one. And then Val Fleury, I just, talk to the people that I know who are of interest for like my music or style related project, and keeping myself honest, like we were talking about the social media calendar, where I choose categories that's outside of music that I can share like my knowledge or interest in, and just keeping it that way.
Cool. Part 2 from the same person that starts with, and my mom asked, have you ever had a difficult moment in the nightlife industry that made you almost give up? Yeah, I'll step away from this one. Thank you.
Oh yeah, so it was after working a difficult festival, and I really didn't like the way that the festival was really organized, or didn't really like the way the scene was coming together. I just saw the reaction of people that like I would love to play for, how they just handled being in a situation, and I just working this one festival and just seeing how people came together in a negative way, it kind of made me break at that time. And I was just like, oh, like should I keep this going if the scene is not going to be genuine anymore, if people are just going to like shove just to get to the front for like a Zed set or whatever. Like it is, is the community still there? That was my moment. But I got over that, and I will always be in the dance scene. Love it.
I think that I found myself in a space once where around people that didn't really support me, I felt very othered by them. And I remember I had gone there and I had left a space where I felt really valued, and went to this other place. And I remember going home and just like crying on the floor and being like, why am I doing this if I don't feel valued? Like, what am I doing? And so I was like, do I even want to do this? I don't want to spend time with those people. But I really just checked myself, and I said, you really can be part of dance music. I feel like it's in my blood. And I think that it's just making sure that you're intentional about who you spend your time with.
I think one of the challenges in this way is like hearing a lot of no's in the industry. Like, no, you feel like you practice so hard and you're a good person. You help old ladies cross the street, and you bought like $100 worth of songs and you're ready. And then like, no, and you get a no, and you get a no, and no, everyone gets a no, and you're just like, why am I doing this? Like, there are easier things that I can and other people happily do. Like, why am I like torturing myself this way with all of the no's? And then on top of that, like getting very often like, oh, we've already like booked enough Black people. We've already have enough girls on the lineup. And then like being like Black and a girl, you're just like, oh, we already checked those boxes, ma'am. Like, try us in 2 years or never, kind of thing. So the no's, you have to just stay on the course and know that it's all going to work out. Because as you said, it's destined. It will. At some point, it will work out. And again, just I do it because I absolutely love it. As V said, like I just absolutely, if I was doing it in my bedroom, if I was doing it like on the moon, I would still be doing it. I think that shows in the sets. Like I literally pretend like no one else is there and I'm playing. But I also do it because I know like the representation matters for all the we have enough girls and we have enough Black people.
I saw another question. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Rachel. Thanks so much for hosting this and you all being here. It's been so insightful. I'm really curious how you keep measuring and measuring success in your own growth. I think that artistry is sometimes immeasurable, but at the same time, music is a business. So is it like your social media engagements? Is it staying inspired? Like what are the 3 kind of metrics that you can share?
I think social media, like you said, like where my follower count was and how many people are engaging with me because of my success. Or also just like the bookings, if they're more niche bookings that I'm looking into. I look into that a lot. Like I'm a techno DJ. If the big techno promoters in New York are reaching out to me, that's how I know that like, yeah, like there's like a ring to my name. It's going well. And the third one, it's like just how you're sounding. Would you like post a video to your own set, how you feel for your own set, and just like would you pay? Would you go out of your way to hear this set? Would you travel far for your own music and your own sets? Yeah.
I would say how I measure my own success. It's changed over time for sure. But number one is my skill level. So whatever it is, whether I'm learning production. So am I finishing a track? How does my track sound? How does my mixing sound? So seeing the progression of how curated my sets are and how smooth they sound is a measure of success for me. Number 2 would be how I feel, and that's changed recently. If I don't feel good, and for a little while I didn't feel good because I was doing too much. If I don't feel good, then I don't feel like I'm really being that successful because my health is a priority to me. And I think the music industry connections that I have, I think is another measure of success. So as my personal community of other music industry professionals grow, I think that it just goes to show how much I have tapped into the scene.
That was really good. I definitely mirror what you were sharing. For me, it's again, I really struggle with social media, believe it or not. And so I really can't put my emphasis on that. For me right now, what success is looking at is the releases that I have for myself this year. At the end of 2023, I was really struggling personally. And a friend came up to me. He was like, hey, Val, you're going to put out 5 releases next year. And I was like, me? 5? Like, you don't mean like 1 or 2. He was like, no, 5. And so that is a KPI for me this year is the 5. And I like maybe worked on 20 just from that challenge alone, and that I'll be able to release the 5 this year is really good. I also have a like calendar of events, like literally every month. It's like what events are happening that's music or culture related of the year, and I'm like, which ones do I want to play? And if I can't play in 2024, can I play these in 2025? So that's another KPI for me. And then also community. Like, it doesn't even matter if I'm like really playing, but like, can I show up for people and can I be there? Like, I'm on this kick right now. Like, every other week, I want to meet somebody new. And if we become best friends, great. If it's just like a temporary like meeting and it's like good energy exchange, I'm happy with that too. But definitely like being as supportive as possible and having very little expectation around it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. We have time for one more. There's one? Okay, this will be the last one.
Thank you, everyone, for asking so many questions and being so engaged. I'm so, I wasn't expecting this, so I'm really grateful.
Hi. Do you play any instruments? And if y'all do, like, how has that helped you become a better DJ?
When I was really young, I mean, we all joined like a marching band or like one of those classes. I just played the flute when I was younger, but I don't really play any instruments. I'm going to be quite honest, but it would definitely help when I'm trying to get myself more into production. The piano, I think, is one of the most important instruments to learn how to play if you're trying to get into music and production. But at the moment, I'm not really doing any instruments. Don't really.
No, I never played an instrument, and I'll tell you, learning music production is so hard because I'm learning music theory at the same time. It is something I wish I did. I think it would help me a lot with production. I use Duolingo has music, by the way. So I got to do it today. I have a 90-day streak coming.
Yeah, they want to know the promo code. Free. I did grow up playing music, actually. I was like first chair clarinet. Definitely a nerd. Played guitar in bands, etc. But I wouldn't let that limit you if you don't know music theory. There's like mixed in key that can help you. There's so many plugins and platforms that can help you. I think one of the hardest things that you kind of can't even really teach or you would learn over a long period of time is just like what sounds good. And maybe you don't know why it sounds good, but even in production, like I have a lot of friends who are like technical engineers. They will sharpen that song or that sound, or like you want that effect and they will do it. But like coming up with an idea or like arrangement, they can't do it for the life of them. But like I don't know what are these complementary keys off the top of my head. So like people have strengths and people have weaknesses. And if you don't know music theory, please don't let that stop you from being a DJ, and please don't let that stop you from being a producer or engineer. I think it'll help, but there are other resources where you can still get to where you're trying to go.
Thank you. Thank you guys all so much for coming out. I want to invite you to our next Support Women DJs show, which Val is headlining. It's tomorrow night at New Way House in Manhattan, going from 9 to 1 a.m. So you can come as a pregame, even if you already have a show planned. But yeah, have a great night, guys.